Welcome to month number 2 of the Sportsline Podcast here on CHCH. I'm Bubba O'Neill, and I certainly hope that we are becoming a regular part of your routine. Like I tend to brag, no region in this province, perhaps even the country, has produced a number of high-level athletes, coaches, executives, broadcasters, and in this case, entrepreneurs. Now, folks, if you are familiar with the old saying that find a career that you truly love because it will never feel like a job, well, this individual has taken that mantra to the max. From her days as an esthetician and a fashion consultant to blogging, opening not one but 2 boutiques, Natalie Sexton is living out her dream job. Currently, her lifestyle segments are seen on CHCH and nearly every network in the country. Best part, in my opinion, she's a huge sports fan. And if you've been to a Tiger Cats recently, folks, you know who I'm talking about. Natalie Sexton, always a pleasure to see you. I mean, it's great to have it even better right here on the Sportsline couch.
This is amazing. Thank you for having me.
How have you been?
Excited. Oh, I'm doing great. Really great. Busy as ever. Like seeing that lineup there, I'm like, oh my gosh, do I do all those things? Did I do all those things? Yeah, busy as ever. This year's really started off with a bang. I did have a vacation, which was kind of like well needed. I worked a little bit on vacation.
I was going to say, I think you worked a little bit on that vacation.
I did. I definitely did. But like you said, right off the top there, Bub, it's like when you are doing what you love, it really doesn't feel like work. There's something really special about kind of creating this career by design almost. And it's funny when I just meet somebody and they ask me what I do, I'm sort of like, I don't know. How do I explain this? There's sort of a big, long list of things that have all somehow kind of synergized together. And that's from staying really true to who I am. I think that's the key to all of this.
Well, all this that you've done, I mean, and again, we talk about the sports aspect as you're seeing right now. You've really embroiled yourself as, I guess, a brand ambassador of the Tiger Cats.
Oh, absolutely. And what an honor, what a ride this has been and continues to be. And I don't know if you and I have ever talked about this, but when I started with the Ticats in 2017, I had my boutique and I was doing a lot of daytime television, and I was a season seat holder. So I had my front row seats, section 106, seats 1 and 2. I still keep those seats actually. So I spent that season like in the front row. Before that, always at games with my dad and my brothers. And a few times sort of we ended up like on the big screen or on TSN and whatnot. And then that season ends, new season's about to start, and I ended up getting an email from someone who was kind of running game day production and whatnot at that time. And they said, hey, we're looking for a game day host. Would you consider doing that? And I said, thank you so much, but no, because I thought I can't do that. Like, I really thought, because I was really like doing fashion and beauty and sort of felt like, okay, this is what I do. And I'm a big sports fan and I love the Ticats, a huge Ticat fan. Hamiltonian, born and raised. But I thought nobody's going to buy me as the host. They're going to think, what is she doing down there? Like I had all of this self-doubt and thinking that I would be judged. So anyways, I had said no. And then maybe a week or so later, I told a few people about it and they were all like, are you nuts? You said no, what? And thank goodness they reached back out and said, are you sure? Like we think you would be a really great fit. And maybe if you just want to come down and we can chat more. And right away I said, yes, I want to do it. Oh my gosh. Thank you for calling me back. So it's a little lesson though that I've used in lots of other ways in my life, though, is that instead of worrying about what other people think, I could have let something like this go and imagine the other path that things could have taken. I would never be where I am now, or have had all these incredible experiences and opportunities had I been so worried about what other people would have thought of me.
Well, let's dig right into this then. Okay. So you accept this job.
Yeah.
Now, did you realize what you were getting yourself into?
No.
Because I'll tell you this, okay? I do television. I'll speak to the odd class, 30 people,
right.
Groups of 30 people or so.
Right.
I'm going to, you see us at the Tiger Cats Audio Network. There's a crowd around us at times when we're doing some of our segments, 40, 50 people. I don't mind that.
Right.
I could not do what you do. I could, under no circumstances would I do it. I know when Andy and I go and tape our segments, it's before the game starts, and there might be 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 people that are filing in the stadium.
Right.
You are doing your segments in front of the peak time, during game time, during a commercial break, 24, 25, sometimes 26,000 people.
Right.
I need to know how you do this, how you execute this.
Whew, I'm going to start sweating now just thinking about that. I don't think about that. I really, how could I put it? I feel like when I'm talking to the camera, like when I'm doing these hits, and especially when I'm down there with a fan, I'm focused on the fan. Especially, I think for them, they're nervous, they're excited. Like this is a once in a lifetime moment for them. So I feel like my job is to make them feel comfortable and okay and excited and not nervous at all. I don't really look up. I'm looking at the camera. Right? When you're down on field level, it is a different experience. There's lots of times though where we do go into the crowd as well. I think in a way it's almost like performing. So I'm kind of like, I'm Natalie, the host, and I feel like it's all of us though. Like I don't put all this pressure on myself. Like I get to kind of relay these fun, cool messages and things that are happening through the game day and hype people up, and I take their energy as well. And I also feel like if I make a mistake, nobody's going to know if I'm smiling and laughing through. And I
probably got a lot to do with those $5 beers before the game.
Exactly. Amazing. It's cool. Like, I feel like the fans there are proud of me, and they sort of like, we're all, it's a Hamilton proud feeling. I feel like everybody wants me to do a great job. Like no matter what I do, they're going to be like, you were amazing, so there's something really, really special about what I get to do. And I mean, at this point, I don't really, the nerves are, I'm excited before game days. I have like a game day kind of ritual before I go down to the stadium. I'm in the zone.
Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, for sure. So I always listen to Beyonce Homecoming live.
Okay.
That's my, it just kind of puts me in the zone. I work out in the morning. I eat a certain breakfast. I listen to her. I get ready. I don't really talk to anybody. Like I like to be alone.
I do this too. This is me.
Do you do the same thing?
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to anybody.
And do you think it's because your social battery is going to need to be at 100 as well when you get down there?
Absolutely.
And I want it to be. I want to just be kind of like fresh and ready to roll. I have social media maybe planned out too. I don't sit and try to put things together the day of too. Like I just want to be focused on getting down there and then getting right into the zone. So because
as you know, like as I do too, you've got these little segments to fill, and you've got to be bang on, and you got to hit the times and whatever. And hence, going to where you're going with this, I know that after every game, sometimes a couple of guys may go out for some drink. I'm done.
No way.
I'm done. I'm gassed. I'm done. I'm mentally done.
You're so right, and it's funny because it's a bit of an ongoing joke with some coworkers and friends there that will go out and do whatever. And I always say, I'm just going to go home and change and I'll meet you there. And everyone's like, okay, sure, Nat, we'll see you next game day.
The guys don't even ask me anymore.
No, they know.
They know my drill.
Yeah, it's just, and it's true. I like the alone before, then I'm really into everything when I'm there. And then when it's done, I like to go home and decompress. I'm in my PJs an hour after the game's done.
Okay, and this is great. And I think anyone that's been to a Tiger Cats game can really appreciate what you do. And I'm so on line with you about the sort of Hamilton proud feeling that you do get with the fans. And that generally goes win or lose. And they're hard on us when we lose. And it's so excitable when there's a win or a great play or a touchdown. But before all of that happened, I mean, I seem to remember, obviously you go to, folks, I'll tell the story right as it is.
Okay.
I'd never met you before.
Oh.
And this is the old building at CHCH on Hunter Street.
Right.
And I was doing weekend sports.
Yep.
There and working at another network. And this particular shift, I was filling in for Ken Welch, who was doing the weekday segments, and you were doing the makeup for all the people, Dan McLean, all these people,
that's right, yes.
right? And I'd never met you before, so one of the great treats about working the weekday is someone gets to put on your makeup, right? Yes. I'd never experienced this before, right? I never put on makeup or whatever, so they're like, "Hey, makeup's here." Right. I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to try this out."
Right.
So you came in there, I came in there, your little studio, whatever, and you're like, sat me down, "Hey, Bo," and we, of course, our first time meeting.
Yep.
And then you said to me, "I'm not going to put it. You don't need any of this foundation. Like, you were just going to put a little powder on you. That's all you need. You have beautiful skin." And I was like, "Oh, this is nice, right?" This is the most wonderful. I'm like, "This is amazing," or whatever. Right. And that was our first ever meeting, at that time. And that was many moons ago for yourself. Now, I know it's a long road travel, but I mean, from that point on, so much has happened to you, and so much good.
Yes.
Well, from that person who graduated from Mohawk to doing, dressing up people's faces at CHCH, it's been an explosion, Nat. I don't mean to embarrass you, but it really has been an unbelievable story.
It's, there's times where, because I'm a very, what's next? I'm always looking ahead, and I have to sometimes make myself kind of sit down and look at all the things that you have done, though. It's because there is so much that has kind of happened over that last decade plus. So I was a makeup artist at CH for the daytime shows, and I loved that job. That was my first real taste of being on a TV set and behind the scenes, which I loved being behind the scenes as well. And I loved everybody there. What a great community to start in TV, so supportive and wonderful. And I did that, I guess, for a couple of years. And I loved getting up at 3 a.m. to go down there and get everybody ready and just be a part of it all. And I ended up doing a couple of segments on camera. I believe it was Kate Carnegie at the time. Yes, yes. And so I did a couple of segments for, the 6 o'clock news. And I'd be talking about sunscreen and what lipstick to wear and blah, blah, blah. And then the makeup portion of at CH ended, so they didn't have there was a trim to certain things, and makeup was one of the things to go, and I was just so devastated because I loved that job so much. So Kate was still there now doing the weekend news, and she said, "Hey, how do you feel about maybe doing a segment?" Because what I took from losing that job was, okay, I was blogging at the time. I was doing makeup for different events and whatnot. And it was kind of okay, let's just buy a really great camera, really double down on doing this blog and being Sexton in the City. That was the blog's name. And just put a whole bunch of work into it. So I kind of established myself as a blogger. And then the news had sort of said, CH had said, well, let's do this Sexton in the City as a regular Saturday segment that we'll do during the 6 o'clock news. And because I'd built a following a bit that way and given myself some credentials, and sure enough, there I am on the desk doing this, Sexton in the City segment on beauty and fashion. And I loved, City Line and the Marilyn Dennis Show and fashion television, and all those things had really inspired me. Did this on CH for about maybe less than a year, and the Marilyn Dennis Show reached out. A producer who had been an intern on at CH, who had met me sort of back in the day, and she said, you just always were so nice, and you were there when you were the makeup artist, and I was an intern, and I've seen what you're doing now. Would you like to come and audition for the Marilyn Show? They need a fashion expert to join the team. And it was just like my, idol, I will just never forget that. Yeah, I was frozen, at my laptop. Is this actually real? And went and auditioned, and that audition alone for me just felt like such a win. To just get to that point, whether I had got that job or not, I just felt so. That was a moment that I felt this is the work getting. These are things making sense now. This is my dream. And I got the job. And I did her show for about a decade. As you know, she retired last year. And I mean, then what's branched off from that as well, started doing TV across Canada. I've traveled all over the country and back again for different brands. I have a regular segment now every Friday on the Global Morning Show, another national show called Fashion Friday, styled by Natalie. A little plug there for my show. But it's,
Sure.
And that's just been like a dream come true. That's just part of it though, right? Like I don't even...
Is it fair to say, though, like a lot of these segments, and you help me out here, I feel like it's kind of groundbreaking. Like a lot of that stuff wasn't really happening.
Right.
And now I kind of see it everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I see your segments, but being done by other people
Right.
now, this whole, sort of lifestyle.
Right.
The incorporation of, look good, feel good.
Yes.
This is all sort of being all on the morning shows
Right.
and lunchtime television. And as you said, 6 o'clock segments.
Yes.
It's a part of news television now.
It is. And for me, it's funny because I felt for a long time like I really needed to prove myself, like in this certain way as a woman, like either I can love like beauty and fashion and be that person, or you can be smart and a businesswoman. And until I really did the inner work to also realize like I can love wearing lipstick and high heels and I can still be intelligent and smart and a savvy businesswoman and have all of those things and not feel like I need to prove myself extra because I like pretty dresses, like it's an interesting thing that I don't think that judgment is there anymore. As to when I started out, I felt very much like I had to really lead in strong here. Like I am smart. I am a business owner. I am, but yeah,
Clearly.
I know what the latest shade of lipstick is that is going to look fantastic on you too. So, and it's okay to have all those. That's what makes us all so interesting. And I think that's why I've been able to branch out into so many different ways. And in taking that job with the Tie Cats, where it was like, this is also me though, like fashion, beauty, lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, being a mom, being a grandmother, being Hamiltonian, being a Tie Cat fan, like all of these things. It's been about how can I keep staying authentic to who I am. And that's why I think it works, because I'm not trying to play a part.
Absolutely. And I think that is key, what you said there. And I think, again, as I said off the top, again, about liking what you're doing and being in love with it and being interested in it just fosters the continuation of growth in yourself. And you talk about growth in yourself. And I hope not to embarrass you here, you've also gone through a bit of a transformation too. Like you've really worked on yourself mentally and physically to become who you are right now.
Very much so. And I'm really proud of it. So, I think it was probably during COVID, during that time is when I really kind of had to take like a look at the big picture, sort of everything for me, like health, mental health, physical health, all of those things, where I was at, relationships, who's surrounding me, what does my daily life look like, and what am I responsible for here? Like, how can I make the changes if I want to be in a certain place? Like, I know what I need to do to get there. And it's been a really fun journey. Like it's like this, when they say that, like, finding yourself and doing the work is like this magical journey and you're on a unicorn. It is not. It is a disaster at times, but that's kind of the beauty of it too, is when you have a sense of kind of like, we need the bad to appreciate the good, and like life is just like this. And that's really what my life has been personally and professionally, has been at times where I'm like, oh, that didn't work out because now this is what needed to work out, and having a little bit of perspective that way. But getting healthy physically too really has just been a game changer for me. Like I feel amazing in my 40s now compared to my 20s, even 30s. It's like I'm very routined, that's a really big part of it.
Yeah, something like 3:45 in the morning?
Yeah, I'm an early bird. Morning TV does that to you. Like there's a bit of that too.
I guess so.
But I really thrive in the mornings, and it's that thing about alone time. Like I like when the world is just quiet. Like that's kind of I get up and I don't listen to anything. It's just quiet in my home, and I have my tea and, might listen to a podcast or whatever. And then I kind of start my day. So yeah, I like it's dark outside still before the sun comes up. This is when I'm thriving, but I'm not your person that you definitely want to take to like a late night, dinner date or movie or.
Folks, you heard that here. Yeah. One of the things also to provide some strength for you, I'm sure, is family. And I couldn't help but grandmother. Grandmother?
Yeah, Gigi. She calls me Gigi. Grandma, yes.
Got to be a strength for you too, the family part.
I am so blessed. I have wonderful parents, and I have 2 brothers and a sister, and my daughter Megan, and my granddaughter Mavis, and they're just that's my team. That's my support. Family really is everything, and I have really great friends too. I have learned this. The older that I get, like it's not about the quantity of friends around you. When you have, just a few that are, they are family. That's chosen family as well. I feel really blessed. And I always feel really excited on game day when I look up and see my dad and brother at every game. They don't miss a beat, and they are more interested in what I'm doing, or I like to think that anyways, but they will standing ovation like after a hit. I've brought my dad down to the field, I remember
that game.
That was really fun.
He couldn't have been any more proud.
Yeah, and that's neat. Like that's a pretty cool experience. My first game in 2017, so it would have been like a preseason, I believe. And I'm down on the field, like going to do my first hit. And I look up and my dad and brother are standing, and you can just see they look terrified and excited. And did my first hit, and then they're both, standing ovation, applauding. And my dad blew me a big kiss, and it was kind of like that moment of just, wow, I'll never forget that. That was really special. So, and I still always feel that.
Well, and for your dad, for those, especially the Hamiltonians, there's a lot of Hamiltonians that know who your dad is. You might as well say Motzi. Like your dad. Like, I mean, for when it comes to basketball, one of the best officials to ever come out of our area, coming up through the ranks, and did so many college and high school games. So there's a lot of people that know Motzi out there.
And he's such a great guy, and he's taught me a lot that I've been able to carry on in my career and who I am as a person. He's a very fair guy. He treats everybody with respect. That's sort of his biggest thing, is like anywhere you go, whether it's the owner of the place or the person who's cleaning the floors, like you treat everybody, you acknowledge everybody. He always made it important to remember people's names, whether that's him giving people a nickname. He's just, that's
whole
my
group
dad.
did that.
Yeah, they're all about the nicknames. But just a very genuine, classy individual, and a really, really hard worker. Like he went to work at Stelco as a teenager in Hamilton and worked his whole life and worked really hard. And my mom as well. My mom is was a teacher, grade school teacher, bless her, her patience, raising all 4 of us, and then also, teaching children as well at the same time. And yeah, they're amazing. They're very proud. And nobody is on social media, though, which is kind of great. Like none of my siblings, and I think my mom's on Facebook, but that's about it. So it's kind of funny. Like they'll hear things from other people and they have no idea. I remember my dad at one point's like, I don't know, apparently you're hanging upside down on the side of a mountain, or you're doing yoga, or you're at who knows what she's up to. It's okay, Dad. Just don't look.
Don't look.
Just don't look.
Don't start now.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't, if you haven't been around.
You know what? He called it face tube. He said, I don't know what you're doing on the face tube. So that's about as tech savvy as my dad is.
I try with my mom sometimes.
Yeah.
And I get a little frustrated. But I got to realize, I'm like, okay, this is a whole different world.
It is.
I mean,
it is.
And for them to like get into the fine details of it, it's just a waste of my time.
It's true.
Don't
just leave it alone.
Let's talk a little football here a little bit about yourself. And I mean, it's funny because the season ended for myself with the playoff loss.
Right.
But that was it for me. Your season continued.
Oh, yeah.
And you got the honor to be, I'm going to call it an ambassador of the Grey Cup. What was that like?
A dream, it's something I still am almost processing because it was so incredible. And to get to host 2 Grey Cups in your city as well, over the course of 3 seasons, like that in itself is just such an unbelievable honor. And then us getting to really do it at the scale that we got to do it in Hamilton last year. I mean, the team there, the whole, Hamilton sports organization, they're just they're amazing. The show that they put on. So to get to be, like you said, the ambassador of it all was pretty wild. That week of Grey Cup Festival was, at one point I was on stage with Shaggy, and then I'm front row at Carrie Underwood, and then Green Day is right here, during the half. And then all the people, all of the fans that I met, there were moments that were just they're so special. And I really just tried to be in the moment of all of it instead of feeling because there was a lot going on in a short span of time, but I just savored it as much as I could. And we created some amazing content too. Everybody worked their butts off. That was a collective, that was a team, unbelievable moments. But yeah, people from all over the country, that was really neat too.
Isn't that the best part about the Grey Cup? I mean, I always encourage people, okay, it was great to have the 2 here.
Yeah.
Go to a Grey Cup somewhere else and just
experience it.
Experience people from all over the country.
I know.
That will never be this friendly.
And that's true too. And that was so cool, and I would have sometimes people come up and say I watched you on Maryland, or I watch you on, or we watch you in Calgary when you're on every, first Thursday of the month or whatever. It's neat to, have dip my toes in the other things that I do and how it all comes together at something like that. So yeah, it was really, really special. And then I got to bring all the fashion elements into it as well, which, that's my wheelhouse.
You can't help it. You just can't help yourself, can you?
I own so much silver clothing. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I had a Grey Cup wardrobe. So thank God metallics are still big for 2024.
Would you have if I walked into your palace, would you have the entire Ticats store there?
Oh, I don't get rid of anything Ticats. I have kept everything from 2017 on. And I've moved quite a bit. I'm in my home that I am not leaving for a while. I'm telling you. But I probably moved 5 times in the span of me being the host of game day, and all my Ticat stuff. I still have my lanyards, my game day lanyards from back in there. I love all of it. I keep all of that stuff. It's a Ticat shop. Yeah, we have a Ticat store in my house for sure.
Let's talk about one thing about the Ticats that's going to be big this week.
Yes.
What are your feelings about this? Simone Lawrence, folks, says they're calling it the graduation.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, kind of appropriate, especially from what he's come from and the fact that he has been basically a Hamiltonian that embraced the not only just the team, the culture of Hamilton, the people of Hamilton, and he has decided to retire, which I have to admit was a bit of a surprise. He was right here on this couch not about 3 weeks ago, and in my opinion, I thought I saw a guy getting ready to be signed to be maybe playing his last couple of years as a Tiger Cat.
Right.
Your thoughts when you heard the news and your overall thoughts about what's about to happen this week?
I'm so happy for him. I think when you know. I'm excited to see him, flourish and thrive in his next chapter with the team. I think it's kind of neat, like you said off the top, though, about Simone and Hamilton, and that's just such a testament to what a great city we are and how, it's once you're in, your family here. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for this season. Change change is good sometimes.
Yeah, there's been change.
He'll be missed. Like I was shocked a little bit too, but I sort of thought like, okay, yeah, this makes sense. I feel like he knows what's best for him too, right? Definitely. And he's just sunshine. Like he's one of the first players that I met when I started, with the Ticats. And like when I think about Simone, like I've been out at spots with him where it's like a big dance party, and then just recently I was at a yoga class and I looked over and Simone's in like dancer's pose at my hot yoga class, like better than anybody else in the room. Right? Oh, Simone's in yoga here. Like he's just he's amazing, right? He's just one of those really special people.
Well, I'm thinking of like the Ticats are now. They put together the likes of Morelli and Hitchcock.
Yeah,
I could see a Sexton and Simone.
Yeah,
I could see it coming together. Okay, Dave Cadeau, are you listening?
Yes.
I can really see it all together coming together.
It. I mean, he's a fashionable dude. Like
he is a fashionable dude. He actually did. In fact, you know what? We did show a segment there that you were here at CHCH.
Yeah,
and you had some of the old boys.
Yes,
putting on some clothes as well too. Mike Daly and Fantus.
I've had like Mike Morelli and Rob Hitchcock and their wives did a segment for me as well. Like, oh yeah, Courtney Stephen.
Yes, for sure.
His modeling skills, I'll just say that's whole nother career for him
as
well. Really good.
Well, I'm gonna have to go back and look at the tape.
Okay.
Look, there you are.
Yeah,
there you are. Look at these guys. What is this? This is all like a summer flair going on.
Yeah, it was a summer style segment, a men's summer style segment, and I reached out and like that's how great everybody is. This was I think just before the season had started last year, so we did a little plug of course too. But like it's just such a family. I feel so lucky. I have made some of the best friends and just the support too. And you mentioned Dave Cadeau, like doing a series called Sexton in the City with the Ticat Audio Network. Like that was a really cool, and that was his idea to start that, like the sort of like, let's brainstorm. And what would you like to do? And I'm like, I'd like to talk to some players about Hamilton and let's go walk around the city. And that's been something that I've been able to do now for a couple of seasons. And we've always had the wildest weather days. I will say this, like it's either been freezing cold or boiling hot, and it just has made for great segments.
You know what's really good about those segments, Nat, is the fact that when I watch them as a sportscaster, when I see them as a broadcaster, Ticats guy, CHCH, I see it. I get a certain level of knowledge of these guys. You get somewhere else with these guys. I mean, what do you like on your pizza? Like things
seriously.
like that. Like you really do get
fun.
And it's great seeing the humanization of these football players. I'll put it that way.
Well, and that's the thing too. Like the pressure and the scrutiny that they're under the microscope. I don't feel like it's my job to dive into that. Like let's just have a conversation. And it sometimes it goes into certainly like game day things or career and stresses and whatnot. But it's kind of like, hey, what do you do to de-stress? Like, who are you besides being this amazing pro athlete? We want to know some layers. And it can be something as simple as, does pineapple belong on pizza? And then the conversation that can spiral from there, I think it does. But I'm just saying. It's
because you don't like pepperoni.
That's true. That's true. I don't eat meat, so fair enough. We need to have something on there. But it's so cool, and that has been a real treat. And it's also pushed me in my skills in a whole nother level of being like the interviewer and doing things like that, like lifestyle pieces that I am really interested in too. And then I get to, again, kind of share that with everybody.
Not one last thing here that I have to ask.
Okay.
What's next?
What isn't next? I feel like I'm just getting started in some ways. So, I look forward to this season. I look forward to creating, to keep growing as a person. I don't know. I would love to, I think about a podcast, like a Sexton in the City podcast. I'd like to maybe share more of my story. There's so many people who have helped and inspired me along the way. I'd love to talk with them more. And then I'd love to, do the same for other people. I think there's something really special about, kind of being generous with who you are and knowing that comes back to you in a very competitive field that I'm in. I feel like there's room for everybody. It's just about staying authentic to who you are. Like, there's nothing cooler to me than seeing somebody who maybe I mentored now, doing the thing that they want to do. I feel real pride in that. Or someone who says, that you inspired me. Like, what a blessing that is. So I don't know what's next. I did a little fun thing with NFL Canada over Super Bowl.
Yeah, I did see that.
So,
The whole Swiftie thing was going on.
Yeah, like just fun opportunities that just but that's again me staying aligned and just doing my thing. I'm open to anything.
Well, I know a really groovy news director. I know a couple of real cool directors that put together some good sets as well.
Okay.
This is your home station, Sexton on the City, the podcast. I could see it coming. We got a brand new app coming out with some content. Maybe I'm selling you hard.
I'm here.
Are you with me?
The lighting's great. The outfits are already. The guests. Okay, we'll chat after the podcast.
You talked about family, and you're part of my family and part of the Sportsline family, the CHH family. More importantly, in the big scale, the Hamilton family, because no matter what you've done, whether I've seen you on TV in Miami, whether I've seen you on TV in Calgary or Vancouver, you always maintain your Hamilton pride. And I think that is one of the greatest things. Sometimes people take a knock at Hamilton and you refuse to be knocked down by that. And
totally.
And you really, I guess the Grey Cup really was an opportunity to show off all that we have here. So I'll say this beyond the fact of behind everyone here. Thank you so much for always making Hamilton your home and coming here on the Sportsline podcast. It's been a treat for me to get beyond, just a little bit of the surface there, Nat.
Thank you so much. You make me cry.
Hey, no, you talked about inspiration and there's going to be some other Natalie Sextons coming. I can guarantee you that.
Thanks, Bub. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Me.
Folks, well, we're off and flying for this week's edition of the Sportsline podcast. If you do know of an extra special athlete, team, or event to promote, we certainly do want to hear from you. Smash that like and thumbs up button, and please subscribe. If you do have a comment, please do, because we appreciate your feedback. For the wonderful people that make the Sportsline podcast possible, thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow.